At Alterra Mountain Company, Kids Ski Free Week is back, and it's the perfect reason to plan your next family ski trip. From December 6th through the 12th, kids can ski free at 15 incredible North American destinations, no strings attached, and no purchase necessary. It's 7 full days of lift tickets for kids 12 and under at 12 destinations, and tickets for kids 17 and under at Stratton and Schweitzer. So grab the gear, pour the cocoa, and let your little ones lead the way. Whether they're new to the snow or already flying down the hill, this is their week to shine. Pick the participating mountain of your choice and head over to their website to claim your free kids lift tickets. Find all participating destinations in the show notes for this episode.
Welcome back to the Ski Moms podcast. It's season 5 and we're hitting the slopes. We're sharing real, unfiltered stories of motherhood on the snow. From conquering the bunny hill with toddlers to squeezing in your own powder days, this season celebrates every type of ski mom. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great season lined up, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. The Ski Moms are very excited to talk to Rachel Proper today. She is a creator and the founder of Keep Vermont Wild, and she really should be heading the Vermont Tourism Department because she makes our little state look so fabulous in all 4 seasons, even mud season, which I do want to ask about. But so we're very excited to have Rachel on the podcast. So welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to start Keep Vermont Wild?
Sure. So really it started as kind of a dare. My whole life, I've been outside and hiking and camping and, I'm on the water and skiing and backpacking and, all the things. And I started, just posting about some of my adventures because I just love it so much. And one of my friends was like, you need to share this content so people can, do the same thing. Like people want to know how to get out and you're doing it. So why not just add the educational content? And one of my friends was even like, you should call it Keep Vermont Wild. And so I was like, you know what? That is a great idea. I should just try it. I'm doing it anyway. Might as well just take it the next step further. And so here we are.
We've heard that from a few of our guests where they were doing something just out of true passion that then they, made into something more and shared more broadly. So we love that. And I was looking at your website, and Nicole's right. You were making, stick season, mud season look beautiful. That is maybe when Nicole and I try to get out of Vermont. So we're very inspired to see some of those beautiful photos. But tell us more about what is Keep Vermont Wild? How would, what kind of information and who are the people that would benefit from checking it out?
Over the years, it's really morphed into an account that is educational, getting people outside. I think a lot of people are intimidated by Vermont. The winters are cold and mud season's gross and summer's buggy. And, I really just want to eliminate those barriers and that anyone can get outside, whether you have little kids, whether you're older, whether you have a hard time really even walking, you can still get outside and enjoy Vermont. And I think, Vermont wasn't meant to be enjoyed indoors. I really do not believe that. I truly, honestly believe it was meant to be enjoyed outside. So no matter who you are and where you are in the state, you can go outside. So just eliminating those barriers. And then I think the Keep Vermont Wild is while we're outside, the state really does require some, care. And so while we're out there, let's follow the no trace principles. Let's stay on trails. Let's pick up after ourselves and just leave this place better than we found it. And so that our future generations can enjoy what we're enjoying. And I really believe that every one of us can have a part in that.
In addition to beautiful images, you've also created these guides. And what do you hope by sharing these guides? Maybe explain them a little bit, how somebody could use them as a resource.
So I have guides for every season. Currently I have summer, fall, and winter. I'm working on a mud season one only because I think it deserves its own guide. And spring, I guess I don't have one for spring, but would consider mud season to be kind of spring. But anyway, these guides are just packed full of all of the details that are hard to share on Instagram. So, Instagram only provides you a certain amount of time and space to give all the details for, hiking trails or skiing trails or, water places. And I think a lot of people want to know, where do I park? Are there bathrooms? Are there trash cans around if I have a dirty diaper? Where can I go after to grab a bite to eat? And while I grab a bite to eat, I kind of would like it to have a nice view, or I want to grab a cocktail with a sunset, those types of details. And sometimes that's just really hard to share on Instagram. So the guides are meant to fill that void, and they provide all of the details that I just mentioned and more, because there are lots of summer festivals, winter festivals, all the different activities that happen throughout the state are really hard to find unless you're specifically Googling for them or are on Instagram just scrolling for hours. And so I just wanted it to be a one-stop resource for the people who really just need an extra help, to get outside, where to go, what to do, and then some like suggested itineraries for people, whether you're going out with, your partner or with kids, or you just want a nice night out, it provides all those details. And it is geared towards getting outside, obviously. But while you're outside, you can also pop in this local store and, support these people. And so it's all really geared towards supporting people who, need help getting outside and knowing just where to go and what to do.
I love that it's kind of this one-stop shop where you've curated everything, because I can't tell you how many times Nicole and we see a sign for something in our travels around Vermont and oh, that looks really fun. And then we're like, that was last weekend. We're just always missing things, right? Things that look wonderful. So I'm so excited that you've pulled it all together. But tell us about your process of finding all these, you know, golden nuggets to share with everyone. How do you pull it all together?
Yeah, absolutely. I am with you. I've been there because I've like driven by even some farm stands and I'm like, wait, oh my gosh, that looks so cool. And then by that time I'm, down the highway and I don't have time to turn around or, I'm in a smaller town and in Vermont and I'm like, whoa, what is there to do around here? But by that time I don't have any cell service and I can't find, the spots to go. So I've been there. It has been hard. So really, I think just growing up here, I was, born and raised, have spent tons and tons of time here and outside and driving around. So some of it is just from my own exploration, and some of it truly is from people being like, "Hey, have you checked this out? You really should check this out." Or even doing some searching myself because I don't know everything. I would like to. I wish I was a running Google list of things, but it really has taken a lot of research, a lot of driving around, a lot of stopping in these farm stands myself or hiking these trails myself to make sure they are legit and have, what they say they have, because Google sometimes lies. So just trying to really do my research the right way.
So there's no AI placement of Rachel on trails, which is good to know. A couple things I do want to take a moment to talk about. You talked about cell service. It is really, really spotty in Vermont. So for those coming, you do need to have a plan before you go. And dare I say, sometimes even print out those maps still, because GPS, I mean, remember in the eclipse, all the people getting lost on our roads and stuck in mud,
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes, I do. I felt terrible.
Yeah, so it's a real thing, the no cell zone. So I do think Vermont is one of those places you do need to do a little bit of research and have a plan. We want you to experience serendipity when you come, but it definitely has areas where that's not going to work out great for you. And the other thing I wanted to take a moment is, maybe not everybody knows what mud season is in Vermont. I know we're joking about it, but Rachel, could you briefly explain our phenomenon of mud season?
Absolutely. Yes, it's a fun season. First, let us touch on cell service. So, yeah, you nailed it. Vermont doesn't have cell service all over the state. In fact, you could be driving 1 minute, have great cell reception, and literally the next second you have zero. And you don't know when it's going to come back. So it can be a little unnerving if you're used to constantly having signal, especially for visitors. That can be quite alarming. So what I just suggest is plan ahead because that is the easiest way to not get lost. But also just downloading maps to your phone. You can download them so that you can, use them without any cell service. And that allows you to continue to use your, Google Maps or phone map to get places. And then just writing down a list of things that you want to check out that can really help you, or even if you need to pull in a gas station and ask for some help, at least you know what you're asking for. Like, hey, I'm trying to reach the Vermont country store. Can you help me get there? Or I'm looking for Mount Peg. How do I get to Mount Peg? And people will generally know where those things are and can point you in the right direction. People, I'd say, in Vermont are very friendly and are more than willing to help if you need it. But yeah, definitely downloading the maps I find very helpful ahead of time and just planning ahead. And then mud season. What a season. It is basically our spring here in Vermont. The weather is above freezing, I would say. So all the snow is melting off the mountains and, just in the valley. And so there's just a lot of runoff from the mountains. The rivers are high. The ground is saturated with melting snow. And it also just rains a lot. So we have a lot of water sitting on the ground and it's not always draining because it's not dry yet. And so it just creates a lot of mud. And as you know, the Vermont roads, some are paved, but some are not. And actually, a lot of them are not. And so these gravel and mud and dirt roads just become these mud pits and have a lot of ruts in them. So I have often found even going up like spring hiking, all these trails are on dirt roads, almost all of them. And in mud season, they get very worn out and the ruts are really bad. And I would don't always recommend going on them if you're in a lower car, like a sedan or a four-door low car, because you will get stuck. I have seen it a few times. So just on some of those dirt roads, just having all-wheel drive and a higher car is just really helpful.
Are you supposed to ride the rut?
That's a good question. I do, and just kind of send it. And
Yeah,
see how
you've gotta maintain speed. You do not wanna stop in a rut. I know that's for sure. I know our kids' school, sometimes the teachers can't make it in. It's, on a mud day, not snow days. Everybody's fine on those, but sometimes the roads are just impassable.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah. Snow days are a thing, Mondays are a thing. It's hard to commute.
And one other thing when we're talking about, like, planning ahead, there are people in our friend group who have electric cars who
Uh,
come up to Vermont, and they underestimate how the battery charge is gonna last on our
mm,
hilly terrain. So it's colder, it's hillier. It is definitely hard on electric cars. I did test drive one. I was thinking about going to electric, and it said, you have 300 miles distance. I drove 90 miles and had a dead battery. I mean, I made it to a charging station, but it was so cold and hilly, and I was like, not for me." But we've definitely seen I know the 3 of us have seen cars that are electric in bad situations.
oh my gosh, yeah. Unfortunately, yes. I mean, and I would say even I think Vermont's getting better, but the charging stations are few and far between. So you really don't know when the next one's going to come up. So that is so scary. Yeah, I think I've seen multiple people be stranded, and it's just really unfortunate, especially in such a green conscious state. It is actually very hard to drive to drive electric.
And I was just thinking as you're talking about mud season or stick season, I think the benefit would be of exploring Vermont then is it is far less crowded than other times of year. We were there in like early June and there's no one. End of May, early June, and it's beautiful. It's a stunning time of year there and hotels are a lot cheaper. not everything will be open. I guess that would be the downside, right? A lot of the restaurants might be closed but you have the place to yourself, which is pretty special.
Yes, you're right. Everything is quiet, which is just really nice. It's similar to stick season, which is kind of our October, end of October, November. But yeah, very quiet. Not as many visitors. People are really in kind of inside because they don't know what to do in mud season or stick season. And yeah, you're right. It's quiet. It's beautiful. The quiet is just beautiful. But yeah, I love it.
So you are definitely gearing a lot of your adventures to family friendly ones. Some of your hikes, are very easy to wear a child while you're doing, and then some of them are great toddler friendly hikes. I would also like to say Vermonters do love kids. It's very family friendly. There's nothing fancy or precious about the state. Did you grow up in a family that was always outside? Was your Vermont experience one of being wild as a little kid?
Yes, it was. I grew up with parents who really valued spending time outside. And so I remember my mom would kick us out after lunch and say, don't come in until 5. And so we were just fending for ourselves outside, making forts and mud pies and running around like crazy. So, and then our family vacations, we didn't grow up with much, but so family vacations, we went camping. And I just remember camping for over 10 years growing up, and some of my favorite memories are that and, you know, swimming, at the campsite and then making dinner and bonfires and, all of those things, and so I think that's just been instilled from a young age. But you're right, Vermont is really catered to families and to people with kids. There is so much to do. Even hiking, you might think, "Oh my gosh, I can't hike with my baby." It's like, "Yes, you can." There are lots of hikes with lower elevation where you can carry, a baby and or walk up with toddlers and access these water places with kids. And state parks are just such an amazing place, and we have so many of them. That's a great place to start. There's our state parks with kids. But yeah, there's so much to do with as a family that you can stay wild as a family and not be indoors.
Do you have some favorite that are sort of toddler friendly hikes that you would recommend? Some places for families to start?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you are in the state, but there are a lot of, lower level, I'd say, walk hikes. One that I really like to do is just Mill River State Park in Jericho. They have not only a playground, but they have like a nice little walk through the woods, some nice views of Mount Mansfield. There's also a dog park, which is great if you have a dog. But I really like taking my daughter there, and she's too small, so I just carry her. But it has a little bit of elevation, so you can get your legs working, but is very family friendly.
Meet your new favorite travel companion, the Weekend Warrior 2.0 ski boot bag from Diamond. This isn't just a ski boot bag. It's an all-in-one travel bag and boot bag, now upgraded in 4 fresh colors: Dune Gold, Twilight Blue, Vermont Green, and Classic Diamond Black. Available in 2 sizes, the Weekend Warrior 2.0 is designed for real ski life. It's water-resistant with a ventilated boot compartment, padded laptop sleeve, and a helmet canopy that clips right on top. TSA approved as a carry-on, and even sized to fit as a personal item. You can breeze through airports without breaking stride. Durable, weatherproof, and smartly organized, it's built for every winter adventure. Ski Mom listeners can get 10% off with code SKIMOMS at checkout. Find your Weekend Warrior at diamantgear.com. That's DIAMANTGEAR.com.
And I know of where we are in Warren, there's a story hike too, where they took a local author's book. It's behind the Warren Elementary School, and you have to walk to read every page, the next page of the book, and it's all in the woods. I've seen that in 2 places in Vermont, and it's so sweet. And I know Mad River Glen does it in the winter. They do a story ski. So I think things like that are just so indicative of how we're trying to combine an outdoor experience with, raising kids.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love seeing stuff like that. It's like, yes, this is what we do. We encourage people to be outside no matter what. And hey, we're going to make it fun for you. We're going to add some storybook stuff. Like, yes, that is amazing. I love it.
And we do have amazing public libraries too. And we are always recommending those if you're having a ski day that looks more like rain than snow. Vermont, even the smallest towns in Vermont seem to have public libraries with great
Yes,
children's sections.
you're right. And you know what? A lot of them also offer free snowshoes in the winter. So you can rent snowshoes for free, especially for kids. I know they have a lot of those. So yeah, libraries are where it's at.
Did you grow up as a skiing family or
Yes, we did. My dad taught us how, at least me when I was 5 and my other siblings as well. I think he was itching to get us out on the mountain. He, like, couldn't wait until we were old enough, what he thought was old enough to go skiing. So I've been skiing since I was, a little girl, and I hated it at first. I think because I was just so cold, and it was like, "What are these boots? I can't walk in them. Like, what is going on?" And now he wants to send me down this mountain, and I'm scared, but that was short-lived, and I quickly learned how to ski. My dad, was a great instructor, and then, yeah, we've been skiing ever since, and it's incredible. I can't wait to teach my daughter how to ski.
Not so long. People now teach their kids at 18 months, 20
I know.
months. Like, to be fair, they can barely stand up, but you can put them in ski boots. So, where are some of your favorite places to ski, and where did you learn to ski?
Yeah, great question. I learned how to ski at Smuggler's Notch, and they have an incredible family program. For those that don't know, is rated the top, if not one of the top family resorts on the East Coast for sure. It's incredible. And so I learned how to ski there, and I would say because I've skied there for, decades now at this point, it is, I'd say, my favorite in Vermont. It is, a little bit smaller than some of the other mountains. It's a little bit cheaper as well. The lifts do run slow. I know. If people complain about it, I get it. But I will say it keeps the crowds away for the most part. And there's just an old school charm to it that you just can't beat. And so I just am fully obsessed. I also think their ski terrain is some of the best in the state, including, Stowe and Sugarbush. I know they have incredible terrain too, but I say Smugs is right up there with the best if you know where to go, that is. So really love it there, but also, love the bigger mountains. Stowe is amazing, incredible views. Same with Sugarbush. Just love all that they have to offer. J Peak, I mean, they could just get so much snow in the winter. It's unreal. And in fact, I think they had the most snow in the state or in the country, I think, this winter. So that says something more than Colorado. Anyway, J is not to sleep on. Definitely go there. And then Mad River Glen is just so iconic, and there are lots. But I do live in northern Vermont, so I tend to stick to those northern mountains. If I'm feeling brave, I'll drive a bit further, but I get so tired after, and with kids, it makes it a little bit more tricky. So I do tend to stay to the northern resorts.
And what are some other activities besides, downhill skiing that you like to do in the winter?
Yeah, there is so much to do. I love winter. Snowshoeing is such a great activity. I love throwing Emma in my backpack and, trugging her along with me. I also just got into cross country skiing, which is a lot harder than it sounds, but have really enjoyed that. It's such a great workout. And I tend to stick to the flat terrain. I'm not really adventurous in in that regard, but have really enjoyed that. Also, ice skating. I think that's such an underrated winter activity. There are almost every town has an ice skating rink, like a local town one. Lots of, ponds and lakes are frozen in the winter. Definitely check before you go. But just so many great places to ice skate, and lots of places plow them or shovel them off for you so you don't have to worry about skating through snow. So I've really enjoyed that as well.
So, for a family that would be considering Vermont because it is snowy and picturesque, and maybe they're ski curious, but not diehards, we are always trying to convince them, to get their feet wet by trying, a winter weekend. Is there a place that you would recommend that maybe they could do some lessons, but would have plenty of other activities for them? Like, where would you steer this ski curious young family? Let's say their kids are all under like 4 and 5. Where would you say is a great
Yeah.
weekend destination for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think really all of the ski towns have a lot to offer. Some ones that come to mind would be Killington. That's such a hub. I know for a fact that their ice skating rinks are incredible. They also offer sledding. And there's also snowshoeing and cross country skiing right at the resort, but also nearby. Same with Stratton. I know that they have their sledding hill is awesome. So if you're not really into the downhill skiing, their sledding would be a lot of fun for a family, as well as just a local town, and everything to do there is just a lot of fun. Same with Stowe, Sugarbush. I would say Smugs as well. Those areas just have everything that you could imagine. The resort offers a lot. All the resorts offer a lot for families that may not even want to ski, like skating, sledding. They offer snowshoes and cross country skiing trails. But there's also a lot of local restaurants, and a lot of these places have outdoor fireplaces so you can make some s'mores and, have a great, chill day outside and enjoy the fire. So I think kind of those main larger ski resort towns have it all.
And as a young family, you don't feel that they need to invest in tons of gear. They don't need to buy the snowshoes, or they don't need to buy the cross country skis. What would you say would be the weekend packing essentials for making a winter a weekend?
It can be quite expensive for a family with lots of kids, and buying gear, especially when they're growing so much, is even worse. So, what I have found is, just rental packages. A lot you can rent at the resort, but you also can rent at all the local ski shops. So, like I know in Stowe, there's ski or Pinnacle Sports. I know that you can rent a bunch of equipment there, and they'll just deliver it to your door, or, you can come in and do everything at once. So there are lots of, checking the local sports stores is a great way to start, I think, because they often offer group packaging, family packages for ski setups that are a lot cheaper than maybe going to the resort and renting there. So I say renting is a way to go if you're checking it out as a family. But then if you want to, go on one step further and really invest, then I'd say going to some local ski swaps at the beginning of the season is a great way. I always grew up with hand-me-downs and ski swaps. My dad always brought me and my siblings. I never had new ski equipment until I think maybe even like late high school, I don't think. I think I always had used, but it was a great way to get into the sport and learn. You don't need the newest and best and sharpest and, all the things just to get started. You just need, some skis, boots, and poles, helmet, and you're good. But I would say if you are coming up and want to do a bunch of winter activities, I would recommend, bringing snow pants, some wool socks, and like a thick jacket, and maybe an underlayer for it as well, like a wool base layer. I'd say those are the warmest and the best. And you can use those pieces of clothing for everything, for sledding and skating and skiing and snowshoeing, and if you want to go on a winter hike or a winter walk. I wear all those things on all of those activities. So I would pack the same for my daughter as well, and would just recommend some of those winter basics for everybody if they're planning a trip.
Yeah, real Vermonters get up in the morning and put base layers on for the rest of the day. And then it's just like, what are you going to put on top of it? Is it going to be jeans and a sweater? Or is it going to be ski pants and a ski jacket? I mean, that's just how we roll. But with toddlers, it's been a minute since Sarah and I were dressing toddlers. Do you have any, recommendations or favorite ways to keep those little toes and hands warm, which are always the things that I worry about with kids? And I mean, good luck keeping hats on. Some kids just hate them. But
Emma is still so young. She's only, less than a year and a half. So I only have had one winter with her. But what I plan on doing is buying some of these wool socks, I think they are the best investment anyone can make. Wool is incredibly warm, but it's sweat wicking, I think is how you call it. But anyway, it keeps the moisture off their body. So it ends up just keeping them warmer. But honestly, her hands were so small last year as an infant that I just put wool socks over her hands because she didn't fit in any mittens or gloves. Cotton is kind of the devil in winter, so wool it is.
I would also add to my ski kit like a neck warmer, a skita probably for in Vermont. I think that like makes such a difference to really have like the top of your chest and your neck warm. And then you should check out these little outdoor booties. We had the woman on the podcast. They're called Stones booties, I think, and they're really made by a mom just like you that was like, I am so sick of my kids' little booties falling off and losing them on these hikes, and they look awesome. And then Fisher makes these little tiny ski boots that like zip up. I would actually like these in my size, but I haven't convinced anyone to make them for me yet, but they just look so awesome. I can't remember what they're called, but they're just in these cute little colors like yellow and turquoise, and they just look so much easier to get a little chubby toddler foot into.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to check some of those out. That sounds great. I love that they're made by moms too, because they know the struggles that we deal
Absolutely.
with. And
Yes.
Yeah, we always joke.
Solving problems. What about Okemo? I feel like that one comes up a lot. Have you explored that resort at all?
yes, I have. And they are also just incredible. They're just down the road from Killington, so not too far if you're staying in the area. But Okemo is such a nice spot where they have everything from, the resort, the Airbnbs, even the hotels, and then, great places to eat that are just down the road, as well as just the places to go cross country skiing and snowshoeing and ice skating and all of those fun things too. So yeah, it's a great spot to go.
There are not a whole lot of influencers and creators in Vermont. I think you definitely stand out. Myrna's another one, the Myrna Vader, who we love and follow. Do you feel like there's it's something missing from Vermont that we're not doing a great job of advertising our state or marketing our state? Or do you feel like they're missing some opportunities there?
That's a good question. I know a few, as you said, a few incredible Vermont content creators, influencers, and they are crushing it. And I'm just so happy for them and how they're promoting our state because we need it. Vermont really does run on tourism, and the more people we get here, really, the better for us and for the locals who live here. So, and it's just such a great place to visit. Like, why wouldn't people want to come here? There's everything. And there's so much to explore and to do with families and even without families. It's just such a wonderful and special place. But as far as content creators and there not being that many, I think we're all just trying to do our best and, showcasing the state and being educational in the process. I think the Vermont Tourism Board does a nice job as well in promoting the state and what it has to offer.
Yeah, and I see from you and the other influencers that I know, it's such a fine line between, trying to be respectful about the environment and trying to highlight at the same time. I mean, we don't want, hundreds of thousands of people going to see, a particular waterfall at the same time. Like that's not the kind of tourism I think Vermont could even handle. What do you think about the balance there?
It's a very, very delicate balance of wanting to showcase and tell people where to go, but also, Vermont can't also handle all of that. I mean, our parking lots alone are just so small. We can't handle the volume that maybe, hundreds and a different state could handle. We don't have that. And so there is a fine balance of showcasing and yet being careful and knowing what you're promoting, knowing what the parking situation is like, knowing what the ecosystem is like. Vermont can just be very fragile. And so I think it's so important that while me and others share about Vermont and the places to go to educate people of, remembering to stick to trails is just so important. Don't go off trail. Erosion is a big thing, especially in the spring and in the summer and fall. So just picking up after yourself and be the hero and pick up that rogue granola wrapper that you see on the ground. It does require all of us to help keep these places the same for tomorrow. And knowing when to share and when not to share, I think is really important.
Yeah, I think you have to be really responsible to the towns and cities in Vermont. And how do you feel about sharing images of your daughter and then also, her seeing how online you are? Have you made a plan about how you're going to approach that?
Yeah. Right now I have done very little with showing her on camera, mainly because I just know what the internet can do with images of kids and faces and all the things. So I've just been very aware and just wary of sharing her face. If I do, I try and do it where she's at a side angle or you see the back of her head or the top of her head or something. She has this wild red hair. And so it's 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 awesome, but I'm just trying to, like, showcase, "Oh, yeah, here's her hair, like, yeah, here she is in my backpack," but not her face. I really haven't come up with a plan of, what it looks like as she gets older and sees my presence online. I'd like for her to be proud of me and protecting this place for her as she gets older and for her kids too. I want this to be a safe place and an incredible place for my grandkids one day, and so I think that starts with her and educating her in the process and knowing that, I'm trying to help the state and by bringing in, people and showing them where to go, but also just being responsible while they do it.
Do you ever have people not want you to showcase how great Vermont is? I mean, just a few people I've met in the valley. We want tourism. Not everyone wants more people there. There are some people that are very happy the way it is. So, have you dealt with that at all?
Oh, yes. I get lots and lots of comments, really just sweet, nice comments about how I'm keeping Vermont wild. And, I can appreciate where they're coming from. I think Vermont is a place to escape for a lot of people and to be left alone and to have property and to just be kept quiet. And, I appreciate that and can really respect that. So when I get those comments, ki- I, I'm not hateful. I'm not irritated. It's like, I get it. I totally get it. And so that I really in my education, and showing people where to go, I often will try and pick those more populated areas where the visitors tend to kind of go anyway. And so I'm just going to tell people where to go in those places versus, hey, here's this super secret place in this neighborhood that no one knows about except for the neighbors that live there. And I just don't think that's doing a service to anybody. Those people know where to go, and that's great. And I just don't want to disrupt their privacy or land first and foremost, but also just really respecting the people that want to be kept, to have this place truly be kept tight. But I will say too, Vermont, and what I want to say to a lot of these people, but I just don't, is Vermont economy thrives and runs on visitors coming. And so we really do want people to come. It is helping our restaurants and our family members that work there and the farmers that provide food there. Without these visitors, Vermont really just wouldn't be really livable at all. So we really do need these visitors. And so we can do our best to keep them from going to, your neighborhood. But we do want them to go and eat at our restaurants and stay at our hotels and to ski at our ski resorts.
How do you manage putting your content creator hat aside and just enjoying the experience? I know sometimes I'm better about this than others, but sometimes I'm like, ooh, what a powder stash or what a great, moment I'm having in the woods and I'm enjoying it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, maybe my followers would enjoy this too. How do you stay in the moment and enjoy it for you and enjoy it for the sake of being a Vermonter versus, always having your creator hat on? Tell me your
Yeah.
ways.
I don't have a secret. My husband is always like, "Can you just not take out your phone? Like, can we just enjoy the sunset by ourselves?" And so it's like, "Yeah, you're right. I should just put it down." What I have been doing more recently, because it's been just a learning process too, because you're right. We should be able to just enjoy something without having to take a video, you know? And I think there's a time and a place, right? So there are times I go out and I get content and I go out on a hike and I'm going to shoot some videos. But all that to say, I only post things after the fact. So I'm not ever posting in the moment. I don't want to do that. I don't ever want to be on a hike and be like, let me do this right now. It's like, that's not cool. Like, we got to just enjoy the hike or the ski day, and then maybe later that night I'll do something, or the next day or the next couple days. And I found that that is a way to keep it sacred for me and my family. Even if I do take a video on the chairlift, I'm not going to post it maybe right then and there, And I could get better at that. I really could. But for the most part, I really try to keep the moment sacred for myself and post later.
And I will say, just spending time with Nicole and watching her always capturing things, like, it's a lot of work that I don't think I appreciate, or really anyone, that you're always going somewhere, creating content, because in this world, you have to always be producing new, fresh content nonstop, or fall out of the algorithms, I guess. And I feel like I've definitely been on some ski days with Nicole where, like, we're backtracking because, like, she didn't get a photo of, like, there was like a
If there's ever a
wind
troll,
chime
yes.
made out of ski poles.
Yes.
And, like, we had to go all around trying to find this thing again, because she knew this was, like, she had thought about how this needed to be content and she hadn't gotten it. And it was, it's interesting because I do think that it's true. It's, like, always kind of front of mind. It can be hard to just be present, but it's kind of the beast of all of this content creator world right now.
Yeah, it is. It's a delicate dance, and wanting to create and be helpful to people, but also, like, we wanting to enjoy the moment, because that is what makes Vermont awesome, and is just being out in the wild and enjoying it. So yeah, I totally get it though. It is hard. Or you see a spot and you're like, "Oh man, come on, like, I need to go get that video," or whatever. I really do get it.
Rachel, can you tell everybody where to find you both on socials and your website?
Absolutely. Yes. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Keep Vermont Wild. And then you can also find my website at keepvermontwild.com.
Perfect. Oh my God, TikTok. I did it for like a hot minute, and then their videos are too short. Like, my brain is too old to wrap around how quickly you have to edit, and like the trending music and the trending sounds. It's just too much for me.
Yeah. Yeah. My bread and butter is Instagram too. It's just TikTok's another beast. I just haven't mastered, but I'm there.
But you're there with a presence.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the guides are downloaded on your website, and they're paid. Like, that's a source of revenue for you.
Correct. Yep. Yep. It just helps keep me going, and it makes it really possible for me to be able to keep providing content this way. But yes, you can find them on my website. They are downloadable PDFs. You also can find a hard copy of the summer guide at the Bittersweet Bakery in Grand Isle. She's the only one that has them thus far, but they are really great for Airbnbs. If you have one, just to have them for your guests to look through and to create different, adventures while you're staying in Vermont. So I have found that a lot of Airbnbs are purchasing the hard copies.
We've loved our time with you, and we always finish off with a question about what après looks like. It could be after an adventure. We're talking about skiing, but do you have a favorite, like, place to go or a little ritual when you end an adventure?
Yeah, love this question. Also, love your book, by the way. I have tried many of the cocktails in it and am obsessed. I love that they're named after resorts and places around. It's just amazing. You guys are awesome. But one of my favorite is, honestly, after a ski day, is just going back to the car, popping the trunk. We have a couple folding chairs and we just sit in the parking lot and have a beer, usually a local beer. And it just tastes so good. It's so, so, so good. And if we're not absolutely frozen, staying outside and just enjoying the parking lot beers is definitely my favorite way.
Well, that sounds perfect to us too. And the good thing is the beers will be cold. They will be cold if they've been in the car all day in Vermont. So no cooler necessary. Don't leave them overnight though. They may explode. I've woken up to a few seltzers that have like exploded in my car. That is not the dream. Well, thank you so much. We love talking to you. We're going to check out all your content. We love how you make all of Vermont look so great. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. You've just been great.
Hey, ski moms, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and got some great tips for your next family ski adventure. If you had as much fun listening as we did making this episode, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes. And don't forget to rate and review us. Your feedback helps us bring you more of the content you love and helps other ski moms find our podcast. Plus, we love hearing from you. So whether you're on the slopes or just dreaming of your next snowy getaway, stay connected with us. Follow us on social media, share your favorite episodes with your friends, and let's keep this awesome community growing.
It's that time again. Ski season is officially kicking off, and the gear is starting to pile up. From new jackets and goggles to hand-me-down boots and helmets, it feels like every day something new is coming into the house. And before it all disappears into the ski lodge lost and found, we're labeling it with Mabel's labels. These personalized, durable labels stick to everything. Jackets, gloves, helmets, water bottles, even ski poles. And they stay stuck through snow, ice, washing machines, and the chaos of the ski lodge. Of course, Mabel's labels aren't just for ski season. They're perfect for all other sports and activities our kids are into. Soccer cleats, ballet shoes, hockey gear, art supplies, lunch boxes, you name it. They're laundry safe, dishwasher safe, and mom approved. And with the holidays coming up, they also make a thoughtful, practical gift or stocking stuffer. And because we love to share a good deal with our Ski Mom community, use code SKIMOMS for 15% off your order at mabelslabels.com. Some exclusions apply. Keep your gear out of the lost and found and keep your sanity. Mabel's Labels has you covered.